Hey, Segovia back with another video, y'all. I know we all get caught up in our own reality sometimes, but this hour-long video you guys are about to watch is going to make you question all that. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
That's why dogs freak out when someone comes to your door. They're not there yet. They still remember the old days. And
that's a great point.
They're still like, dude, usually if someone's coming up, we have to kill it. Like, they're reminding you of that. You know? And it's true. I mean, and if you look at that collective epigenetic trauma as an egregore, as a ghost haunting the planet, the ghost of, like, not that long ago.
Yeah, the ghost of primate past.
The ghost of primate past haunts us.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so easy to slide into aggressive patterns and defensive patterns that are completely unnecessary.
When y'all are saying that y'all used to drink from the hose, were sinks not an option?
For fuck's sake. Who's going to tell him? You want me to tell him?
Everything, girl, tell him.
We weren't allowed in the house. I don't know why that's so hard for people to understand. Our childhood was like one never-ending episode of that TV show Survivor, okay? We are indestructible. We've never sat in car seats. Nobody's ever given us swimming lessons. We've all been either shot with a BB gun or stabbed with a fucking jart. The television stations had to make a commercial reminding our parents that they had kids. I shit you not. Every night on the 10 p.m. news, a voice would come on and say, "It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?" To remind our parents that they had fucking kids. So, no, sir, shirtless with the beanie, sinks were not an option.
The good old days, y'all. I remember we used to get, I'm from Arizona, so we used to get the points off the cactus, the thorns, put them at the end of cigarette butts. We used to have dart wars back in the day, y'all. The good old days.
Modern day Sinatra, so, you know, I try to live up to that, you know. I get possessed by the spirits. I get possessed by the spirits.
Jay-Z said he gets possessed by the spirits. Well, we know that's not the Holy Spirit, because we also know in his song State of Empire, he said, Jesus can't save you. Life starts when the church ends. And we also know his wife said this.
Not do when I'm in rehearsal. I mean, I can try, but then it just doesn't happen. I can sing notes and sing strong and do all these things that when I'm just by myself, I can't do. And I remember right before I performed, I raised my hands up, and it was kind of the first time I felt something else come into me.
She said, when I'm by myself, I can't do it. So what is she talking about? Who is she talking about being with? She's talking about Sasha Fierce entering her. You know somebody else Jay-Z studies? Aleister Crowley, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody who was very satanic. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Where have we seen that before? Oh, on a sweater that Jay-Z wore. Yeah. Guys, these people are very into the spiritual realm, but it's not the holy spiritual realm. It's not with the all true mighty God. It's not with Christ. Stop listening to him. All you're doing is opening portals for demons to come into your life. I pray you hear this and receive it. Amen. God bless.
I am telling you guys, I say this a lot. I did a reaction on my second YouTube channel. Links down below. This guy, everything you see on these videos about Jay-Z and Beyonce and alter egos, this guy broke down what he saw one night in Jay-Z, how he saw the devil in him. I highly suggest you guys go listen to that 30-40 minute long reaction I did over there. Links down below. You guys, this is what they do. This is what they do. It's not no talent. It's selling that soul.
And other grass-eating species have a digestion system.
Hold on, we got to rewind this because these next three clips they have to do with each other. So I want you guys to hear what Bill Gates got to say.
Cows and other grass-eating species have a digestion system that emits methane. And methane is a very powerful greenhouse gas. And so cows alone account for about 6% of global emissions. And so we need to change cows, just cows alone.
Pay attention to these next 3 clips.
Well, actually, of all the categories, the one that has gone better than I would have expected 5 years ago is this work to make what's called artificial meat. And so you have people like Impossible or Beyond Meat, both of which I invested in.
You eat it as well? Or do you
That
like
makes
it?
sense.
Absolutely.
You do.
You can go to Burger King and buy the Impossible Burger.
All right. Is it healthier for you or just healthier for the atmosphere?
It's slightly healthier for you in terms of less cholesterol. It's, of course, dramatic reduction in methane emissions, animal cruelty, manure management, and the pressure that meat consumption puts on land use. The main reason why we need to increase the agricultural output over the rest of this century is not the population increase. It's that as countries get richer, they eat more meat, and meat is a very inefficient way of creating calories. And so it's super helpful.
Humans are here because of cows. That's kind of the theory behind it. Without the cows, humans probably wouldn't exist. I know this doesn't make any sense, right? But I know you love crazy stories, so I'm telling you this.
Yeah.
There are apes in India. So what they do, the teenager gibbons do something very odd. There are lots of cows in India, and when the cows poop, right, it's called a cow pie or a cow dung, you'll have mushrooms growing on them. And these are magic mushrooms. And these gibbons, especially the teenagers, they've figured out that they can eat those mushrooms and they can expand their...
Really?
Yep.
Whoa.
So we got Bill Gates saying we need to get rid of cows. We got the other guy saying humans would not be around if it wasn't for cows. And if cows disappear, humans disappear. And listen to Bill Gates' TED Talk.
Let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there we see an increase.
Max, what'd you just say?
The aliens are real.
The aliens are real?
Yeah.
What are the aliens gonna do to us?
Shoot laser. The drones are flying. They're everywhere.
The drones are everywhere?
Yeah.
What are they chasing?
Aliens.
When the aliens come, is everything gonna change or is it gonna stay the same?
Everything came and stayed the same.
Are you scared or not scared of the aliens?
Not scared.
What kind of people do they want? Do they want people like Max or do they want people like everybody else?
People like everybody else.
What date are the aliens gonna reveal themselves to everybody on Earth?
Any phone.
What date? What date is that coming, Max?
In the future of January 1st.
Oh, on January 1st of 2025, the aliens are going to reveal themselves?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Better.
We don't see worms after it rains anymore. Are we outside anymore after it rains? It's like water to me, y'all. It's like the ocean.
First of all, I said, do you believe in UFOs? And he looked at me with a straight face and one-on-one. He said, absolutely, positively, they do exist. And he said, well, there's a lot of things that are going on there that I won't be able to tell you until the year 2025. But we have things in the Nevada desert that would make George Lucas envious. Another individual, we were talking, I interviewed him in Nellis in 1985, 86 timeframe. And I said, what's out there? And again, he looked me straight in the eye and he said, we have things out there that are literally out of this world.
We also see in men 1,300% increase in testosterone just from somewhere between a 13 to 15 hour fast. And then we start to see inflammation go down. So all of a sudden, if you have people who have like joints that are hurting, they start doing 15 hours of fasting every day and they're like, God, you know, my joints just don't have that same stiffness in them anymore. But if you stay in that fasted window, you keep going 17 hours, your brilliant body turns within and it goes, wait a second, no food's coming in, we better get stronger. So it literally takes the bad cells, the cells that are slowing you down, the cells that are turning into cancer, and it gets rid of those. They're called senescent cells. And it literally recycles them out of your system, and it goes into the cells that are still usable, and it makes them stronger. It fixes the intercellular parts. We call that autophagy. And that's when you go without food, your cells will heal themselves.
They say a 3-day fast resets everything. All your bad cells are gone. You're reset. 3-day fast, y'all. 3 days of sacrifice. 3 days. Clean you out.
Am I the only person just learning about this? Not the theme, but so why didn't anyone tell me that this guy's brother, this guy right here, Kimball, of course seen with people just like this, is the owner of this company right here, Nova. Sky Stories? This could not be written any better. Nova Sky Stories empowers artists and producers to bring awe to live audiences around the world. Why do I feel like it's more than that? Or exactly what it just said. Here's some of his work right behind me. We, Robot? Kind of coincidental that it has to do with AI and the robots and what the other guy's doing. Very coincidental indeed. Meanwhile, the government saying they have no idea what's going on. By the way, this is Sedona, Arizona. You may know of Arizona from the twisted trees and all the magic portals. The same place missing YouTuber Funky Fathead went to made a portal to in his video. And by this video right here, that thing and these things are completely different. And this was just taken in New York on Christmas Eve. I can't put my finger on it, but something is off right here. What do y'all think? Let me know below. By the way, this is entertainment. I'm just being stupid.
I've been to those portals out, not portals, those vortexes out there in Sedona. And as you get closer to that vortex, trees start changing, start twisting and turning. Next time I'm out there in Sedona, I'll make sure I film a little clip for you guys to see. I'll go check out one of those vortexes, and you can just see how the trees, they're nice at the base, and as you're getting closer to it, they just start twisting and looking all crazy.
Obama, this is while the attack's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So we have an embassy and a CIA annex under attack, and the President of the United States is flying to Vegas to meet with Beyonce.
Yep.
You hear that, everybody?
So the problem's way bigger than Hillary. I don't like to focus on Hillary because she's like the scapegoat and she's done a million things wrong, but God, there's so many other people. Jake Sullivan is in a super senior role in our government who had a way bigger role than Hillary, and like people just ignore it. And like I said, they don't care that Obama went to Vegas. It blows my mind. And then the fact that the Department of Defense they could not respond. They weren't even close to responding that night. Like sheer failure. All that stuff got pushed. You know, you just say it's Hillary and everyone's like, yeah. And then nobody else had to be held accountable. I mean, Obama, as everybody knows, he did tell the Secretary of Defense, use all means to do this. And then he got on a plane to Vegas to go see Beyonce and Jay-Z. It's like, why did he not cancel that trip and stay and make sure his orders were followed up?
It sounds absolutely nuts. Now, what happens if you pray? Just for a few days. What happens if you pray? And then, once you start doing the experiment, it starts off with like, this is just, I'm going to do it. It's probably bullshit, the opium of the masses. But then you realize you're getting pulled in, not in a bad way, But right away, there seems to be some feeling of connection, some sense of something a little different than what you're used to experiencing. And sometimes that can get really scary for people. And they're like, fuck this. No, it's getting me. And it's like, to me, that should be the experiment of anyone who's skeptical. And if you're skeptical about Christianity or any religion, you should be. You should 100% be skeptical of, it's like what Mark Twain said, religion is what happened when the first con man met the first fool. You should be skeptical. But if you read the Gospels and you realize, like, the part of the story there is an invitation to connect on your own. You don't need the priest class.
Right.
You don't have to listen to the fucking rules. You don't have to, like, it's just between you and the eternal. And see what happens.
Right.
We don't know what it is. It floated up. Some sort of huge island built into the wood. It's a massive piece. Somewhere further back is actually a square hole carved into the center of it with some amazing notches. Nachos.
Did you ever fry an egg on a cold stove? It's no trick at all. You have the right equipment. This is a cold hot plate. And because it's cold, you can make it out of wood, if you like. Just be sure that there's a coil of wire inside and that you connect that coil to a high voltage alternating current source. The rest is easy. As long as we're being different, we'll use motor oil instead of Crisco.
Motor oil.
The egg fries very quickly, but the stove remains perfectly cold. In fact, if you wish to keep it handy, you can fry your egg on the morning newspaper. With a gadget like this, you can get up in the morning, sit on the stove, read the morning newspaper, and fry the eggs in your lap.
Rare historical photos.
Technology's out there, y'all. It's been out there. And yet, we're paying in the wintertime 120, 150 for gas. Summertime, 120, 150 for electricity. $100, 150 for water monthly, forever. When there's stuff like this out there, like, don't you just wish the powers that be had our best interests at heart? How great the world would be if they had our best interests at heart.
You haven't seen before.
Sick.
A man wears an early version of roller skates powered with pedals and wheels, 1910. For a brief but wondrous moment in time, you could get potatoes from a vending machine. Beer vending machines were also a thing. This is the mass shaving machine, a machine that was designed to shave a bunch of men all at once. This is Maud Wagner, the first female professional tattoo artist in the United States. On September 3rd, 1967, Sweden made a shift from driving on the left side of the road to driving on the right. This is a picture from the first day after the big change. This is the Peel P50, the smallest car ever produced. This is Charles Ponzi, the infamous scammer Ponzi schemes got their name from. This is what an early design for an electric hairdryer looked like. This is a wax sculpture of Thomas Wetters, the man with the largest nose in history. This right here is what one of the Titanic's lifeboats looked like before the passengers were rescued. This is the world's longest limo, the American Dream limo. It was equipped with both a hot tub and a helicopter landing pad.
This is the new iPhone?
Yes.
Did you read the package insert when you got your new iPhone? So if you do, it's like microprint. It says in there, don't hold it to your head. It also says if you have it in your pocket, like, make sure you don't always put it in the same pocket and that you move it around.
Really?
It's in the package insert. And reason being is because this emits radiation. And what most folks don't realize is the fancier the phone, like the cooler the screen and everything, the more radiation. So if you read the package insert, it's in there.
I don't know if anybody can see this or not, but I just reported it. That's a car in the river.
That's eerie.
That is an SUV. Look at this. Completely, fully submerged. It honestly looks like a Kia Soul.
Do you think this is the end of the Western civilization?
I hope so.
Well, why do you hope so?
Because it's toxic. It hasn't worked for the majority of the people in it for the last 500 years.
That's interesting. Can you elaborate on that? I've never heard someone say that. Everyone always says that it's been great until like the last 3, 4, 5 years. So explain why you feel like it's not worked.
It's a parasite that requires tremendous suffering for the majority of people living in some of the poorest conditions in the world in order to create a comfortable, luxurious life. But what that does more than anything is a human being was not designed for that kind of comfort or ease. It removes one of the most basic, like fundamental parts of living your life, which is challenge, crisis.
Would you say we're too comfortable in the West right now?
Absolutely. We don't, and obviously because you live in it, you don't even recognize just how comfortable you are until you maybe travel out and live in somewhere else.
So if I'm to leave the West today, where would you recommend I go?
Mountains.
That's the tough question, right? Like, even I just said, I wish the powers that be for electricity and all this, but we have electricity. We have running water. We have heated houses, you know? So there's two sides to the flags of the West, right? There's a good side and a very evil, dark side. Like, what, you know, do we want to go live in the mountains where it's 30 below zero in the wintertime and it's 115 in the summer? Like, there's a lot of people living there, and I'll tell you what, those people are probably way happier than we are out here living in these cooled down houses or heated houses. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I never knew this at the gas station. If you pay with your credit card, it's $2.71. Watch this. So if you use cash, it's $2.61. Ain't this some crap? I never knew this. I'm sitting there trying to figure out why the numbers moving, and I just realized that's what they was doing.
I think we might be 20 years behind the gas stations. There's a cash price and there's a credit card price. They want you to come pay cash, and and you go in with $10, it's $10. Now you go in with your debit card, your credit card, anything. There's a fee that you're paying, right? Through your monthly statement. There's a fee that the business is paying, and guess what? You're also making tips on that thing to our people, and that's what we're in the room over there trying to figure out. It's like, if we don't have cash in the business, how are we going to pay out these tips?
The most shocking predictions from the past that actually came true. Marshall McLuhan, predicting the internet. In 1962, McLuhan described the concept of a global village where people could instantly connect and share information worldwide. Decades later, the internet turned this into a reality. Nikola Tesla, predicting smartphones. Tesla once said that in the future, people would be able to carry devices in their pockets to communicate wirelessly across the globe. Over a century later, smartphones made this seemingly impossible idea a reality.
See, I always say, if you can figure out what's next, that small business right now that is pennies on a dollar to buy their stock, what's taking over next, right? We got smart cars, Teslas, Starbucks, Apples. Like, Tesla probably would have invested in Apple once it started, let's just say in the 80s when Apple was pennies on the dollar. Now it's hundreds, maybe thousands. I don't know what it is. But if you had that mindset to just figure out what's next after these, because first it was, you know, the mail. That's how you contacted people. And then phones, landlines, and then the big cell phones, and then the flip phones, and then now these. What's after this? That right now that company's getting started, and it's pennies on the dollar for the stock. You can figure that out, y'all. You can be wealthy in the next 20, 30 years. But something's coming after this. Apple ain't going to be around forever. And big businesses never are.
John Elfrith Watkins, predicting television.
Rarely.
In a 1900 article, Watkins envisioned seeing people and events on screens miles away. His prediction came true with the invention of television decades later. Jules Verne, predicting the moon landing. In his novel, From the Earth to the Moon, Verne described a spacecraft that launched from Florida and carried humans to the moon. Over 100 years later, NASA's Apollo 11 mission fulfilled this vision almost exactly, down to the Florida launch site.
And the last factor I want to mention is resilience, the capability to bounce back, because there will be certainly what we call the black swans, the unpleasant surprises which will come
in our way.
Dr. Werner von Braun in early 74. At that time, von Braun was dying of cancer, but he assured me that he would live a few more years in order to tell me about the game that was being played, that game being the effort to weaponize space. The way he said it to me, there was no doubt in my mind that he knew something that he was too afraid to talk about. The strategy that Werner von Braun taught me was that first the Russians are going to be considered to be the enemy. In fact, when I met him in 74, they were the enemy, the identified enemy. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. We heard a lot about terrorism. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. And the next enemy was asteroids. Now at this point, he kind of chuckled the first time he said it. Asteroids, against asteroids, we're going to build space-based weapons. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens. And all of it, he said, is a lie.
That's a reptilian.
What we now know is that as soon as an antibiotic hits the system, within the next 12 months, the risk of that person developing major depression goes up by 24%. If you give them 2 courses of antibiotics in that year, their risk of a major depression goes up 44%. And so here we are treating pneumonia or a urinary tract infection or a sinus infection, and what we're really doing is undermining the entire metabolic capacity of their gut-brain axis. And we are predisposing that person to a loss of sense of self-identity. And they develop that deep major depression, this disconnect from self, because self is not a single species. Self is the description of your relationship to nature, the nature within you. And so
to get that cousin you only see once a year, a neighbor, a coworker who brings you so much joy. But don't worry, we've got you covered with the best digital gifts you can easily buy online right now and get delivered instantly for those very last-minute gifts.
What the fuck is on with his mouth?
He's an e-commerce writer for Rolling Stone.
Lead was a wonderful thing because it stopped mold from growing in paint. But after the lead got pulled in the late 1970s, then the paint manufacturers started putting mercury into paints. That happened for about 10 years during the 80s. But they were looking for what they could add to paint in order to keep mold from growing in the paint.
Excuse me, you're Brian Mass, right?
Yeah.
Hi,
Captain.
My name's Josephine Gilbo.
How you
I'm a
doing?
17-year Army veteran.
Welcome.
Well, I'd like to ask you a question.
You can start by shaking my hand.
I don't think so. Are
All
you?
right, well,
Are you an Israeli spy? Are you spying on the American government for Israel? A former intelligence officer, and I have read documentation that points to you actually having allegiance to the country of Israel and not America.
Did you almost give your life for America?
Absolutely.
Because I almost gave my life
So
for
did I.
America.
17 years in the Army.
So either this guy's thinking freaking lady's crazy and needs to get off of TikTok, or he's like, my cover's blown, but this guy next to him was filming her. They know what she looks like. Probably gonna go run her background, see everything about her, address, all that. What do you guys think? I don't know, but when she said that, his eyes kind of did that, you know, like he blew his cover for a split second.
Why are you continuing to accept donations from Israeli citizens like the Falik
He's filming
family
her.
from Miami?
Really a tremendous
Jay-Z faced a scathing rebuke for wasting court resources in his fight against a woman who accused him of raping her when she was 13. A judge exploded at the rapper who made several attempts through his lawyer to quash the case or force the woman to be publicly identified. Judge Torres said the relentless courtroom plot was combative and filled with inflammatory language and attacks. She was granted her anonymity for the next stage of proceedings. The woman alleges Jay-Z, along with disgraced rapper Sean Diddy Combs, drugged and raped her at an after-party for the 2000 MTV VMAs, which the rapper has vehemently denied the baseless claims.
Jaguars in Tucson. Oof. Oh man, no thanks. Look at
I said,
those
Your Honor,
snatches.
there's only one disease. The judge said, what is it? I said, you already know. She said, try me. When someone has sinusitis, what is obstructing the nasal passage? She said, mucus. And when another has bronchitis, what is obstructing the bronchial tube? She said, mucus. And when another has pneumonia, what's covering the cells of the lung? She said, mucus. Dr. Victor Herbert, who is defending the state of New York, jumped up and said, what about AIDS? He wanted to know where the mucus. I said, Your Honor, have you been to an AIDS ward? She said, yes. I said, what is it that the AIDS spits up every 5 minutes? She said, mucus. Where is the mucus? It's in the skin, it's in the blood, and the lymphatic system that makes up the immunological system. That is where you find the mucus.
I have made and entered covenant with God. And on December the 6th, 2056, I'll see y'all later.
How is this guy still packing out shows? Look at him. Do you think God's talking to this guy? Look at him.
I'm out of here.
You've seen his clips, riding in private jets, saying people that fly, coach or demons or whatever. And his shows are still packed, y'all. It's crazy.
120 years old.
I consider not my body 83 years old in the name of Jesus, but only that which God had promised. And I have a personal covenant with God to live 120 years on this earth.
But then I have a mandate before me. Should the Lord tarry, I will live and preach this gospel till I'm 120 years.
There's a U.S. Marine that's going on trial against Congress talking about how he's seen UFOs abducting humans, but the UFOs weren't aliens, they were humans abducting other humans.
What?
Yo.
In the actual
Bro, it was a named Michael Hara, and it was in 2009. Like, he had to go do like an Overwatch mission in Indonesia because it was a natural disaster, like a hurricane. So he was over there just making sure the land was good.
Yeah.
And then I guess he was in the jungle, and he seen like a UFO like hovering over in the jungle, picking up people. And then he seen like U.S. trucks. Like, he wasn't supposed to be over there. Like, he just wandered off. And then he said like a week or two later, like some unnamed government officials came in. Like, he said these people did not have no name tags, and they was like, yo, you cannot speak about this to your general, can't speak about this to your family, can't speak about this to your platoon, your group. If so, you could get put in prison or they will execute you.
Perfume is one of the worst things you can do for your body, and you don't even understand how bad it actually is. Hey, my name is Dr. James Nall. Perfumes are nothing more than chemical bombs that destroy your immune system and make it easier for you to come down with a chronic illness. There is an industry secret that perfumes do not have to label exactly what's in their products. They can just label it fragrance or parfum. And did you know that under those labels, they can include ingredients like phthalates, benzene derivatives, formaldehyde, acetaldehyde, and alcohol? Did you know that those are linked to cancer, neurotoxicity, hormonal imbalance, and infertility? Look, perfume weakens your white blood cells, which is your immune system. And when your white blood cells are weaker, they can no longer fight off the root cause of chronic mystery health issues, which are viruses and bacteria. So every time you even smell perfume, let alone let it touch your skin, you are lowering your immune system. So if you're trying to heal any mystery chronic health issue, you need to understand that perfume is holding you back.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
I asked ChatGPT to analyze Kim Kardashian's Santa Baby video. Here's what it said. The video uses sacred symbols such as the Virgin Mary and Jesus with irrelevant, chaotic, and sensual imagery. This can be interpreted as the mockery of Christian tradition and a challenge to religious authority. The inclusion of figures like Jesus in mundane and unsettling contexts might critique the institutionalized nature of religion and its commercialization during the holidays. The symbolism of chaos and disruption. Satanic imagery often celebrates chaos and the breakdown of order, which aligns with several elements in this video. Disorder in the background, Jesus in a secular context, and the blurring of sacred and profane. Sensuality and the Virgin Mary. Kim's portrayal of herself as a sensual Virgin Mary is a provocative reinterpretation of Christian iconography. Desecration of purity, empowerment, or defiance. Santa Claus and satanic wordplay. Santa-Satan wordplay. This is often referenced in pop culture to highlight the commercialized secular nature of Christmas. as a deviation from its religious roots. The depiction of Santa Claus in the video, especially with Macaulay Culkin, could suggest a critique of how society has replaced spiritual reverence with materialism. Christmas as a capitalist ritual, idolatry of wealth and glamour, individualism and rebellion, critique of Christian morality. What do you guys think? Is it really not that deep, or is it?
If Jay-Z think that he's not going to be linked up into any of the Diddy stuff, he out his rabbit mind. He out his rabbit mind. Because they was doing shit together. Remember Diddy infamous quote? Do anybody know Diddy infamous quote about Jay-Z?
Everybody knew that Snoop Dogg, not again, mentioned him in December of 2020, but everybody beat the hell out of me. Screw you, that can't be true. What the hell do I know, right? And then recently it just came out again that Snoop Dogg got accused of actually trafficking children. And what did everybody do? Ooh, Snoop Dogg is at the halftime. I'm going to the halftime. But we canceled Dr. Seuss. Make some hot wings.
It doesn't matter who's president, it doesn't matter who's in the House or Senate, mass surveillance is a way of life going forward, and it's not going anywhere. Most people don't realize how much we are under surveillance. This is not a smart TV, but if it was, it would have been recording this entire conversation.
Can you disable a smart TV?
No, you need to power it off entirely.
Like unplug it?
Unplug it. Turning it off is not sufficient enough. Our phones, our Alexas, our Apple Watches, our smart TVs, in some cases, our sound machines in our kids' rooms that are connected to Wi-Fi. For what reason? I don't know. But even in some cases, these things are collecting data on us. And there is a department and there's AI now that grabs keywords that people say, and then it's assigned to an agent, and that agent then goes through and looks at the conversation and sees if it's worth picking up on and investigating further. So it's not necessarily just about the fact that we're being mass surveilled. It's about the fact that we have AI tools now that are helping people more rapidly process this information that I think is extremely scary, because AI gets it wrong.
It does. It does get it wrong. My YouTube, sometimes I'll get ad blockers, or the channel or the video will be blocked because the AI, my videos, when it's uploading, goes through a processing thing, and all my words that I say from the video, there's keywords that it'll pick up and it'll automatically block your video, even if it wasn't even in that type of context. But AI is doing it now, y'all, and AI is wrong.
And this is my prediction for 2025.
Save this.
I believe that we're going to get an alien invasion.
Give us the date. Give us the date.
I believe an alien invasion is going to happen June 16th, 2025.
You got to lose a leg.
And people are going to get killed.
Yo!
All right. Remember when Jay-Z said this?
I think we've passed kneeling.
Let me play it again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind him. The reason why she's worried about how Jay would respond is because she's the CEO of Rock Nation. But in her former life, she was a federal informant. In 1994, Desiree Perez was arrested for bringing in 35 keys of Griselda Blanco into Miami. Under pressure, she agreed to wear a wire for the DEA. Quick side note. Desiree Perez is the name Dame Dash refused to say in this Breakfast Club interview.
Once a has certain friends, we don't even talk about them no more where I'm from.
Now, around that same time, Jay-Z and Perez spearheaded Rock Nation's prison reform initiative with Meek Mill. I guess their hard work paid off, because on the 19th of January 2021, this list was released. Desiree Perez's criminal past had just been wiped clean by the outgoing president, Donald Trump.
Now imagine if Biden did that. You know, we did some things and we made a big deal about it. Imagine if he pardoned Desiree Perez, who's the head of Rock Nation, that has ties to Diddy.
But Trump didn't only pardon rappers, he also granted clemency for a few hip-hop moguls. Desiree Perez. Trump also pardoned CEO of Rock Nation, Desiree Perez. Perez is a music executive who has close ties to Jay-Z and has been one of his most trusted business partners since the 90s. She was born to Cuban immigrant parents in the Bronx and started her career running a cell phone and beeper company. She started doing promotions for a nightclub in Washington Heights and ended up managing several clubs by the late 90s. In 1996, she booked a young Jay-Z to perform at one of her clubs and has been doing business with him ever since. She helped him open the 4040 Club in Manhattan a few years later and was brought on to be the COO of Rock Nation in 2008. She became the CEO of the company in 2019 and was named Billboard Music's Women in Music Executive of the Year that same year. Perez was arrested in 1994 for drug possession and again in 1998 for grand larceny and possession of a firearm during her club promoter days. Desiree has mainly stayed out of the public spotlight despite the high-profile associations, and the details of these charges are not entirely clear. But the White House acknowledged that she has made a considered effort to turn her life around, and therefore, the crimes have been wiped from her record.
Do you know who this is?
Vampire, I don't know.
So he has wings, and there's a chain on his ankle, and he has a crown. Obviously, Lucifer,
yeah.
Satan.
I saw the chain. I was like, yeah.
Right? Now check this out. What foot is this? I know you've seen this statue before.
Is that the one in?
There's a chain and a foot. That's the foot of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh,
yeah.
I heard about this.
Now this statue, there's 7 points on his
I
crown,
didn't
right?
see this.
Statue of Liberty has 7 points on its crown.
No.
Now go back to the statue. What's by its feet? An apple. Where is the Statue of Liberty? The Big Apple. New York City. What do they call New York City? The Big Apple, fam. Why are they praising the Statue of Liberty, which is literally Lucifer? Do you know why it's holding a torch?
Why?
Because Lucifer was the angel of light before.
Yeah.
It's right in front of us too.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
But where's the most money made? Wall Street.
Oh, Wall Street.
Where's that? It's the Big Apple, fam. And New York is the home of Jay-Z. Take it a step further. Ready? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Ready? Where did that happen in New York? The healthcare thing. No, that's a stretch.
An extensive underground facility 300 feet down. And other kinds of blue beams, strange lights in the sky, surveillance orbs, size of basketballs, medicine balls that survey the area and move in ways that we don't possess that kind of technology. And we were bringing out the fact that saucers have been seen to just come screaming out of the facility as if they had some travel distance underground. And also craft like helicopters would come into the facility and just disappear into the ground. So we knew from construction reports and from visual reports outside the facility that something very suspicious in the way of silos was going on.
He's never coming out of prison. How dangerous do you think?
Thank God.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous. And everyone knows Diddy was selected for this job. He's the Judas.
Kind of alluded to Jay-Z may be next. What is your thoughts when you hear they done took down Puff, they done took down all these other powerful black people? Jay-Z's like the lone.
Jay is them people. If you do the history of most of the people that got in trouble in the industry, big trouble, who they went to for help? When Lil Wayne was in trouble, who did he go to? When Meek Mills was in trouble, who he go to? Meek Mills said it himself. Desiree helped me. So how could he be up next? You know what I'm saying? He is them people. I don't think they coming after him at all. I don't think they got, like I said, I think he is them. He has a relationship with them. You talking about a woman that had a relationship with the feds for 20-something years. So I don't know. I don't see them going after him. You know what I'm saying? But everything Jaguar be saying do flourish.
They're not going after him yet. Like I said in yesterday's video, not yet. They will. There was a time people said that about Diddy. There is a time I'm sure they said that about Epstein, about Harvey Weinstein, about R. Kelly, about everybody. They're pawns, y'all. When it's time for the machine, it's got to save his ass. Take the pawns so we can continue this Ponzi scheme, right?
Let me get this straight. You're saying that the major beverage companies, food companies, all of them, are bribing the scientists.
That's the machine. Bribing scientists, not bribing little hip hop stars, little actors, actresses, scientists. That's the machine.
Bribing the regulatory agencies to endorse their formulas, their ingredients for food, to say that they're good, say that they're okay. And in fact, those ingredients are meant to addict people to the foods that they're selling.
It's the express purpose. I was shocked as a junior employee to see a list of names of professors from Harvard, from Tufts Nutrition School, from Stanford. And as a junior employee working for the food companies as a consultant, I steered money to those schools. The food industry funds nutrition research in this country 11 times more than the NIH. You are loath to find a nutrition researcher who's not directly paid with a direct consulting agreements bribes, and their research is predominantly funded by the food industry. I can tell you from working for this industry that that's not out of a philanthropic goodwill for unbiased research. The food industry is spending hundreds of millions of dollars on nutrition research to enhance their bottom line. It's to normalize these addictive foods.
Huh? Who you think the Rothschilds and these special elite Jewish people, who you think they serving? Who you think the seed of the serpent is? Okay, don't worry about it. Because, see, you like their music. Go study it out. They own your music. They own your porn. They own your social media. And they do all of these things in service to their God to ensure that, guess what? You never, never, never come into truth. Now, you ain't got to take my word for it, but go see who owns all your media. Go see who owns your education. Go see who owns your health care. Why they rather give you a drug instead of tell you to eat right? Why they out there engineering your food and putting all this poison in your food? You got to ask yourself, why would a human being want to kill another human being? Why would I want to destroy the food that we all need to eat off of? If I poison the food, you think it's going to hurt me too? Ain't nobody asking these questions. But the Bible trying to tell you something happened here. That the great dragon, the devil, and the serpent and his super buddies was thrown down to the earth. Look at what it says. He said, then I heard a loud voice in the heavens saying, now the salvation and the power and the kingdom, the dominion, the reign of God, and the authority of his Christ have come. For the accuser of our believing brothers. Who's the believing brothers? That's me. I believe. I don't know about y'all, but I believe for real. Right? He said that means Satan been accusing the believing brothers and sisters all day to Christ. That's what he said. He said the accuser has been thrown down at last. He who accuses them and keeps bringing charges of sinful behavior against them before God day and night. Catches what he said. He says, and they overcame and conquered him because of the blood of the Lamb. What's the blood of the Lamb? How do we overcome him? The blood that was shed on Calvary. Not Santa Claus, not Christmas presents, but the blood that was shed on Calvary is so, guess what? You could be saved and overcome this great dragon and his angels that's out here tormenting you and their children out here that's out here destroying you.
No way they planning our face this hard. Man, they just posted a video from space with 2 more people in the video. I could have sworn they said that there was only 2 people left in space, but now all of a sudden, the girl said, she said this, hold on.
It's a great time of year up here. We get to spend it with all of our family up on the International Space Station. There's 7 of us up here, and so we're going to get to...
So how y'all, hold on, let me get this straight. You can't get them out of space, but you could send 5 more people to be with them, and you can... I'm so confused. They're planning our faces, bro. They're literally celebrating Christmas in space. I thought you couldn't get... First of all, where do you get the Christmas stuff from? Don't tell me that they just Amazon Primed you. Did they Amazon Prime you to get you the Christmas stuff, the hats and the pajamas and all these different things? Did you plan to stay there for Christmas? Because it doesn't make sense. The math isn't mathing. If you couldn't get them out of space right now, how could that means that you tried to, and the plan was to get them out of space way before Christmas. So how are you prepared at Christmas, during Christmas? How are you still recording videos? How are you still, come on now, and how do you have more people added to the crew than there was beforehand? Make the math is not mathing. Is this NASA math? This has to be NASA math, bro. They expect us, they must think that we're dumb. They're playing in our faces OD right now. This is OD playing in our faces. This is disrespectful, borderline. I'm not even joking.
Because you can't go nowhere. You can't move to the next level unless you sit on his lap. So like when he say action, you got action. You understand? And it's proven. Look at Rick Ross. Rick Ross wasn't doing nothing after Every Day on Hustler until he started sitting on the Diggler lap. You understand? Even Snoop. You understand? And a lot of more people, their career went up when they sat on this man's lap as the director. You understand? And that's why a lot of them sold their soul to be on the director chair.
Snoop did go through the roof after that, because I remember he did an interview. This is when Tupac was about to die. They didn't like each other because Snoop went on an interview in New York saying, like, you know, Puffy's my friend. I'm cool with them. What they got going on over there together, that's on them. But me, I'm cool with Puffy or Diddy, right? I still call him Puffy. I'm cool with Diddy. Well, what happened? Tupac ended up doing what he did. What happened to Suge Knight? In and out of prison. What happened to Snoop? That's crazy.
Things said by astronauts.
Jan Lewy. During his mission in 2003, he heard continuous eerie sound. Like knock on a door, he described it as that someone knocking the body of the spaceship, because there is no sound in space. Neil Armstrong. During the Apollo 11 mission, Neil Armstrong sent a secret message to NASA that he saw the existence of other sentient entities there. He said, "These babies were huge, sir, enormous. I'm telling you there are other spacecrafts out there. They on the moon watching us." Story Musgrove. He claims that onto space stations he saw an 8-foot-long serpentine. He also said that the snake followed him for a long period of time.
I collect Native American artifacts. Basically, my buddy and I, we went one afternoon. We find some stuff and we take it. So I go home. I lived in a cabin at the top of a hill in the middle of the woods. 4 or 5 nights in a row, my truck alarm started going off. Didn't think anything about it. Went to bed sober. It wasn't like I had a wild and crazy night or anything like that. I woke up and I had my kitchen window had been unlatched and pushed open.
Dude, what?
Dude, my wife and I bought this mirror. And so she and I like hung this mirror above our bed, and we looked at it really good, and we're like, okay, good, and we go to bed. The next day, the mirror's got a giant scratch across the freaking mirror. Dude. There was 1 week that I woke up every single night at 2:59 or 3 a.m. on the freaking dot. I woke up, borderline having a panic attack. My heart was racing, I was sweating, and I turned my lamp on, and I put my feet on the side of the bed, and I stand up. When I stood up, something jumped from that balcony to the floor, and it ran through my house. To the point where I grabbed my gun, dude, and I freaking racked that thing, and I ran downstairs, and I freaking vetted my entire house. I checked every corner, every closet, and everything, because it was so real that I was convinced that somebody was in my house. And dude, there was nothing. So scared.
There's 41 million Canadians, basically the population of California, sitting on the world's largest amounts of all resources, including the most important, energy and water. Canadians over the holidays, the last 2 days, have been talking about this. They want to hear more. And so, you know, there's obviously a lot of issues, more details, but what this could be is the beginning of an economic union. Think about the power of combining the two economies, erasing the border between Canada and the United States, and putting all that resource up to the northern borders where China and Russia are knocking on the door. So secure that, give a common currency, figure out taxes across the board, get everything trading both ways, create a new, almost EU-like passport. I like this idea, and at least half of Canadians are interested. The problem is the government's collapsing in Canada right now. Nobody wants Trudeau to negotiate this deal. I don't want him doing it for me, so I'm going to go to Mar-a-Lago. I'll start the narrative.
But I don't want to hear no more about it from anybody. Amen? Amen. Is that all right with everybody?
Is this mysterious old man really Elvis Presley? To this day, many people still believe that Bob Joyce is actually Elvis Presley. It's said that Elvis faked his own death in 1977 to escape the mafia, but there was never any solid evidence until the sudden appearance of Bob Joyce, a pastor living in a small town in Arkansas. With so many similarities between him and Elvis, many believe he is indeed the king of rock and roll. Some have reported seeing Bob Joyce at Graceland during Christmas. It's also said that he attended the funeral of Elvis's daughter. People speculate that he is living out his later years in a simple, unremarkable life. After all, no one else has ever come close to replicating Elvis's musical style like Bob Joyce does. Bob Joyce is a deeply religious man who owns a church, and it's known that Elvis became very religious toward the end of his life.
Dude, I hate working night shift. They got me cleaning up all this broken glass.
Yeah, I'm quitting. Done. Ugh.
Hello?
Crazy things happening in the world right now. This wanted fugitive from an Ohio case 20 years ago was found working as a police officer. The New Zealand airport just put a 3-minute time limit on all goodbye hugs. A couple made guests buy $300 tickets to attend their wedding. This woman ran over her boyfriend while going to couples therapy. A family was told that their daughter had checked out of a hospital, but in reality, she had passed away. An Alaska Airlines flight was turned around after the pilot admitted that he was not certified to land the plane. An AI model changed its own code in order to give itself more time. A 3D printed community in Texas is almost finished. A man threatened a Burger King worker after not taking drugs as payment and got 143 years in prison. A Chipotle employee says that their boss chased him out with a gun for not taking out the trash. Utility companies in Louisiana want state regulators to allow them to fine customers for lost profits from energy efficiency initiatives.
When you realize this guy shooting rockets into space, making e-vehicles, starting a new fucking department of the government is also the top. It's so crazy. It's the one time I actually let myself think maybe he actually is an alien, because there's just no way, unless he's paying people to do it for him, which obviously he's not. That is insane, man.
Yeah, I don't play Diablo 4, so I really don't know what that means, but I believe it's huge. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't.
It's crazy. It's crazy because, you know, Diablo 4, it's all about your build. It's all about, like, eye-hand coordination is obviously a big part of it, but then it's just... and then you see the chopsticks catch the fucking rocket.
Yeah,
and it's like,
that's a side job. Side job, he's had more space innovation in the last 5 years than NASA has since the Apollo missions.
It's amazing.
I mean, I'm just saying that. I don't know if it's a true number, but he gets rockets to land and rockets get caught with robot arms. Like, what?
And that, to me, it's like, my God. You know, you get those feelings like, okay, I'm on the right timeline. Because if the guy who's going to make us a galactic civilization is also a master Diablo player,
the number one,
we're in the right timeline.
Because I'm an alien.
That's what I've speculated.
Yes.
I'm on
There you
record
go.
saying this in the past. I wonder.
It's true.
If there was one, I was like, if there was like maybe an intelligent being that we created, you know, like some AI creature that's superior to people, maybe they just hang around with us for a little while, like you've been doing, and then fix a bunch of shit. Maybe that's the way.
I might have some mutation or something like that.
You might. Do you think you do?
Probably.
Do you wonder? Like, you're around normal people, you're like, Like, what's up with these boring, dumb motherfuckers? Ever?
Not bad for a human. But I think we'll not be able to hold a candle to AI.
What is going on here? Let's follow a lead. Check this out. This still image appears in a video clip of a band called Sex Stains, and this is where it gets interesting. They played at Comet Ping Pong, a restaurant in Washington, D.C. Best known for its pizzas, ping pong tables in the basement, high-profile clients such as Hillary Clinton and the Obamas, and a conspiracy theory called Pizzagate.
All right, family. There you have today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you made it this far, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And like I said, link to my second channel is down below. Go subscribe over there. We're close to 1,000 subscribers. When we do 1,000 over there, we're going to be doing a giveaway. When we do 10,000 over here, we're doing a big giveaway. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, y'all. And a little fact check I did on myself while I was doing this video. Apple's worth $250 and some change, y'all. So, but still, if you had the mindset that Apple's going to be what Apple's going to be and bought it, like $1 bought you 1,000 shares, imagine if you bought 2,000 shares back in the day, how much that'd be worth. If you have that mindset to think forward, like what's next? I try it all the time. My little monkey brain can't figure it out. But anyways, y'all, I got some things to do. I got a lot of editing to do. You guys saw me, a lot of bad words were said in today's video, so I got to go through and edit everything with a fine-tooth comb so we don't get blocked. But it's Friday, y'all. Hope everyone out there has a good day, has a good weekend. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow on another reaction. This is Segovia. I'm signing out of the man cave. I'll see you tomorrow. Later.